Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, also known as the Magical PT. I am here in Fort Lauderdale, where I have my own physical therapy practice called Body and Soul PT. And I am also, besides being a podcaster, I make malas and other crystal and gemstone jewelry, as Allyson is there modeling for us if you're watching on YouTube. And I paint sometimes. I have written a chapter in an international best-selling book. And I'm a mom of a cat. And Merlin is quite the beast. He thinks he's a dog and a human and a cat, so he covers all bases there. And I'm originally from Wisconsin, but I've been in Florida for 28 years now. I was once married for 25 years, and but divorced for 8. And that's me. So, Allyson, why don't you tell everybody about you?
Well, I'm happy to be here with my co-host. My name is Allyson Mancini, and I am a human resources director at a company called The Gold Digger Girl, also a functional nutritionist, holistic nutritionist, halfway through my functional nutrition certification. And I also have 2 adult children, 25 and 22, a dog, a grand dog, a cat, and we're getting another dog because that's just how we roll around here. And I have a husband also in that mix of things. And we've been together for 28. We've been married 28 years, and I've been living here in Florida for 29 years. Originally from Michigan, also a Midwest girl at heart. And I'm just excited to be here. I love spending these half hours with you, my friend.
They are so fun, and we have met so many cool women on this show. But before we bring our guest on, we need to shut the dog up. And our March sponsor for Voices of the Goddess is Jewel Toned Interiors. And they are an award-winning, women-owned interior design company located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale Magazine named Jewel Toned Interiors the #1 interior designer in town. And they transform lives by the creation of experiential interiors for all people. It's what drives them to produce environments that truly reflect the unique personality of each and every client they have the pleasure to work with. Imagine how a strategic work environment can positively impact your bottom line. It is proven to increase employee productivity and morale while making a lasting impression on customers and new hires. The jewel-toned interior gems, as they call themselves, come from a variety of backgrounds with experiences in many industries, from restaurants and retail to offices and multifamily housing. They are proud to be trusted with something as important as your vision, so let them bring it to life for you. It all starts with an idea, so let them help you consider the possibilities today. Discover more about jewel-toned interiors and what they're capable of at jeweltonedinteriors.com.
I love them. They're amazing. The gems are awesome. Joy is incredible. Her vision's beautiful. And we were just talking about in one of our other interviews that we have to go to one of the restaurants here that she just recently made look amazing.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Very cool. So you tell me you've got like a quick tip on improving digestion, I think you said. So tell us all about it, Allyson.
You should hear my dog howling right now. He just stopped, but it's hysterical. Okay. So my quick tip is this. So actually my husband and I were just talking about this the other day that, so many of us are, a lot of times when you start having problems, health problems, a lot of them can be connected to your stomach, to your gut, because your gut's just not at its best. So a really quick tip and a really easy way to help benefit your gut microbiome without having to do anything crazy, and it's totally natural and pull it off of a tree, is take a lemon every morning, cut it in half, get some room temperature water, about 8 ounces, squeeze that lemon in there and drink it in the morning. It will really, really, really help you long term. It's good just keeping your respiratory pathway all nice and mucousy and moist and all that good stuff. And it's really, really good for your stomach. It's good. It helps with your acid levels and helps them to be where they need to be. So that's my just quick tip. And I know both Julietta and I have done that in the past, do that. Like, it's one of those things that I like go off and on with it. Like I do it for a while and then I stop and then I do it for a while. Not because I just forget, just, one of those things. One morning I forget and then
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm that way with like all nutritional.
Yeah.
It's like I buy my supplements, I take them religiously for a while, and then one day I forget for whatever reason, and then I get off track, and then it takes me a little while to get back on track again. And the lemon water, probably the biggest thing that stops me is because I, and I know how different people have different beliefs about this, but I want my produce to be organic. And sometimes you just can't find organic lemons. So that's typically when I go off course for a little while. But
I agree. They should be organic if you can get that. Absolutely. It's just a little bit better. So. But yeah, it's a super easy tip. It's something you can even, your kids can do. Just, don't. My kids will say, but I'm drinking lemonade. Yeah, well, that's mostly sugar. That does not equate. It's got to be just fresh lemon squeezed into a cup of water.
Absolutely. I will say I've had a dentist tell me that after you drink it, you need to make sure you rinse your mouth because the acid from the lemon can wreak havoc on your teeth. So
sure. And also that's a very good point to bring up. And I have also heard in conjunction with that to actually do the lemon water before you brush your teeth, like when you wake up in the morning, because you kind of have that coating on your teeth and it will help with that, and then go brush your teeth. Like I know some people that don't brush their teeth until after they have coffee for the same idea. So yeah, there's all those little fun tips in there. All right. Are we ready to bring our guest on? She's so patiently waiting.
We are ready. Bring her on.
Hello, Tamyara. How are you today?
Hello, ladies. How are you?
We are good. We are excited to have you. So we would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I am an author, a blogger, a website designer, as well as a brand and visual strategist. And in a short way, saying a graphic designer.
She's got all those slashes that we talk.
I know. I love it.
Everybody had like one title, and nowadays people are like, and my joke is always, I'm the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. I don't do any of those, although I am a pretty good baker. You can ask my boyfriend. but I won't even talk about what I have butchered. But and surprisingly, I don't think I've ever made a candle. I do think I should make a candle, but
anyway. Have you never made a candle? Didn't you do that on a school field trip? Like I did that. We went to some, I don't know, place, a fort or something that was back from the 1800s and made candles.
I don't, maybe I did that and I don't remember, but anyway, my whole point is modern goddesses do. We have many slashes, so we wear many hats. So that's very, very typical. So
agreed.
We're glad you're following suit there. Having many slashes.
Thank you.
So our first question to you is, we'll just dive right in here, is what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why? And really, how has this book just impacted you in a deep way?
Iyanla Vanzant, her very first book. And in the meantime, it was like one of my favorite books. I mean, I was going through my son, being diagnosed with FSGS, also dealing with cancer, breast cancer at the time. I was 33 years old. My house had burnt down. Uh, Everything that could possibly happen happened in my 30 at the age of 33. And somebody gave me that book, changed my life because she had went through so much, and it just taught me survival.
Yeah, she's a powerful woman. I don't know that I've read that. She has multiple books. I don't think that I've read that one, but yeah, she's a powerful motivational force out there. But that's crazy, all the things that you went through, just like, dump it all on you all at once.
At the age of 33, I thought it was my defining moment, though. I thought it was going to break me, but it defined it was like the year that I came to Buffalo. And it was like, the first thing I said was, let me get up out of here. I could deal with this in New York City, but Buffalo taught me resilience and staying power. And I only stayed because of my children. Because my children was like, Mom, we don't want to move back. And so that's why I stayed.
Nice. Well, I have never read any of her books, so I definitely will have to check that out because I've not read them yet. So with all that you have going on, all of the stuff that has happened to you, I'm sure you've had amazing good things too, but what is one top self-care practice that you use just to help you get through, and how does it support you in your life?
Well, the one thing I've learned now, and it took me a long time, and I'm just learning that because, for years I lived in the hospital with my son who had a rare kidney disease. I'm learning now to really take care of myself. I'm just starting to do that. And when I say just start, I'm like maybe a year, because it was finally when I got my life back. So I'm learning to have one day to myself, because my daughter said this to me the other day: you can't pour from an empty cup. And where I work at a daycare center, and they said that too. My good friend and boss said you cannot pour from an empty cup, and it's so true.
Yep, and we preach that to all of our goddesses. And we really, the only way you can serve and give to others is by taking care of yourself first. And I feel like so often we've been programmed to think that putting ourselves first is selfish, but in actuality, it is selfless, because we have to take care of ourselves if we want to take care of others and support them. So I'm glad that you're learning that lesson and finally doing that for yourself, because your family, people need you.
Right. And, it was so hard to learn because, where I grew up and where I grew up in the household, it was taught that you were last on your list. And I think that it was generational, that we were taught, listen, you're last. If you have children, and I'll never forget, my daughter had a baby, and a friend of mine said, you don't matter anymore. And I was like, oh my goodness, that really is a generational conversation that we have, teaching people that, listen, you're last on your list. You're not important.
No, I agree with you. I think that's very generational. I think even my parents put that on. Actually, they never said it in words, but it was kind of always implied. And then as I got older, I learned that that's not true. But I can also totally relate to your taking care of everybody else. Because my daughter, my youngest, has 2 medical diagnoses. One's pretty severe, and we've had our fair share of like living at the hospitals is horrible. And you really just don't take care of you because you're just so consumed with taking care of them. Right. So I'm really happy to hear, though, that because it took me a long time to figure that out too. And I'm glad that you figured it out also, that it's so true. You cannot pour from an empty cup. It's just like I tell my clients, you get on an airplane, and what do they always tell you about the masks? Put it on yourself first, then help your children. I mean, you can't, because if you'll just be fumbling. You have to take care of you. So
and it's hard too, and it's hard because, especially like I have 6 children, and I realized, and that's their steps. So I realized, like, when we were going through the rough years, everybody would be like, oh, take care of yourself. And the first thing that I would say is, how do you do that? How do you really focus on yourself when you have a child that's sick? You have, your children who need you. You have to go to work. You have to do this. And I never understood that 10 minutes a day is not selfish. Sitting in the tub is not selfish. Like, that was my saving grace, going in the bathroom, locking the door, and taking an hour bath.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be my question. What is because you said you take time for yourself, but it was going to be, what do you do when you're taking time for yourself? So,
well, it's two things. It's taking a bath and writing, but I love to write. So, I've been writing since I was 11 years old, but that was really that's my self-care. That's my time. Like, I do a lot of other things and wear a lot of other hats, but writing is really personal for me.
That's awesome. I love that.
All right. So I'm sure you understand this. Like, there's those days you wake up and it's just hard to motivate and do what you got to do. So when you're having a tough day, what's the tool that you pull out of your back pocket so that you can get through that day?
Well, the one thing I think is, I look at YouTube. I am a YouTube fan. And I look at Eric Thomas. He's like a motivational speaker, but he's so, he's just like head on. He'd be like, get up out of the bed. You'd be like, okay, I'm gonna get up. I don't want to, but I'm gonna get up. And that really is like my go-to. Like, I listen to a lot of motivational CDs, and I listen to Audible. I am like a fan of Audible. And that's what helps me. Like, I have to hear that voice saying, get up out of the bed. Because if it was up to me, I would, on a bad day, I would do absolutely nothing. And I know that.
That's something this in, 2022, we all go to YouTube for so much, but I never thought about finding someone to tell me to get out of bed.
Well, he doesn't say, and he doesn't say get out of bed, but he kind of says, it's like, you are the only person. All you can rely on is you. All you have is you. At the end of the day, when everybody goes home, your friends, your children, all you have is you. Are you going to sulk, or are you going to get up out of that bed? And I think that's the tool for me. But also just, having that motivation. Like, at the last minute, I say, come on, Tamyara, get up. Get up. You got things to do. You have goals to accomplish.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that self-talk. Like, you know what I mean? You got it, because if we don't correct what's going on in our heads, what goes on in our heads is mostly negative. So we need to, you're absolutely right. You just got to have that self-talk. I think I need to like set a pre-recording to just go off every time I get out of bed. Allyson, you are awesome.
And you are.
You are.
All right. Our fourth question is, every experience that we have in life helps shape who we are, but there's typically big experiences along the way that play a big role in shaping who we are. So what is one life experience you've had that has greatly shaped who you are today?
My children, and watching my son, Ruben, survive FSGS, which is a rare kidney disease. So many, we lived in the hospital, and I watched him struggle through this from 4, and he's now 20. And one of the most amazing things that I found with him is he didn't give up. He wanted to, but he didn't. And, now that he's 20 years old, he's working in a hospital, which is ironic. And his whole spirit of, I have to stay focused on the goal. And he said that his inspiration was Eminem. And there was that song. If you ever seen that movie that he did, that one song, and that was all he would play. I mean, 1,000 times a day.
It's a great song, and it's 8 Mile, and it's not far from where I grew up, and it's an awesome song, and Eminem is awesome.
And my son felt like at the time, that was his hero. And then there was this song by Mano called All of the Above. And he would play that song every time he would have to have surgery or go to dialysis or have some type of surgery. He would just be like, you would hear it blaring out of his headphones. And he taught me perseverance, because when you're that young, and the children at the hospitals, and I went to different hospitals, they taught me perseverance, because these babies were dealing with taking chemotherapy, blood transfusions, anything that you could think of medically that would hurt. It's there to help, designed to help you, but it's going to cause you some discomfort. And they would get up and still want to go play. And they would still want to get up and go outside or run. And that taught me right then and there that if you have that much innate, if they can do it, I know I can.
It's so true. We used to sit on, you must have been like on the HEMOC floor, like my daughter, that's where she did most of her treatments until she got older, and we convinced insurance that she could do them at home with a nurse, and we switched to that. But we spent many, every month on the HEMOC floor, and it always blew my mind at these little ones, like infants going through cancer treatment that just were happy. I mean, I realized they're just getting the treatment now. They probably weren't so happy, the next day or the day after. But it's pretty amazing how resilient they are, kids. Really, I mean, it's pretty. Yes, I think it's just because they're not programmed and don't carry all the junk and baggage that we carry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
So true. So true. So from our conversation today, there's been lots of positive points, inspirational messages, but what is one thing that you would love our audience to take away from this interview?
The one thing is that no matter what type of mess, one of the things that I learned is you have to have the audacity to rise up. Right? You have to have the audacity to rise up to your higher level of who your purpose is, whether it be an author, a blogger, or whatever it is that you want to do. You just have to do it. And sometimes we limit ourselves. And so one of the things that I inspire women is to turn their mess into a masterpiece. Because I don't care what you've been, and I've been around all types of people, whether you've been a drug addict or whatever, you can't let that stop you because, just sharing a brief story. I met a woman years ago who, was just really down and out. And I grew up with her in New York City. And today she is a lawyer. So if she can be a lawyer, don't let your adversities or the setbacks or the failures or whatever people want to call them stop you from being your best self. Because it's not over yet. Because if you're waking up, obviously, you have an opportunity for a second chance.
Love that. I love the turn your mess into a masterpiece.
I'm like, can I just hang out with you every day and you can talk in my ear all these amazing things? You seriously are so inspirational. And I love the message that you're putting out there. And there's so many women and people that need to hear it. And I think it's incredible. So thank you for coming on here and being a guest.
Well, it was really my pleasure. And thank you, ladies, for having me. I was very nervous. It's funny because I do more audio podcasting. And so, I'm like, you got to step out of your comfort zone. And that really goes back to that whole turning your mess into a masterpiece. You can't be afraid to step out and really shine because we only got this one life to live.
Mm-hmm.
And we appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone to come do this. And it's, it's been amazing for Allyson and I, when we started this, it was mostly our friends that we were reaching out to be on the show. And so many of them were just, no, I'm too nervous. I can't do that. I can't talk on camera. I don't have anything to say. And, fortunately, most of them, we were able to, talk them into doing it. And, I'm like, it's not that difficult to sit and talk with us for 30 minutes, and most people after the fact that, they're like, that was fun. I actually had a good time and enjoyed it. And it wasn't that difficult. So, so thank you for stepping outside of your comfort zone and joining us
thank
here.
Thank you for having me. And I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And we want to thank Jewel Toned Interiors for sponsoring us and allowing us to keep these podcasts coming. And we want to thank our audience for listening, because without an audience to listen, what's the point of making a podcast? So if you liked what you heard today, if you want to get in touch with Tamyara, Allyson, or myself, check out the show notes, all of our contact information, social media, websites, etc. All that information is available in the show notes. And also, please like, comment, follow, share, subscribe. Get the word out of there so we can keep doing what we're doing and uplifting, empowering, inspiring more women. So with that, I want to wish everybody a magical day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.